What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Life of a Sim Racer. My name is Brandon, and today we have a special guest. He is the driver of the number 66 Circle B Diecast Toyota in the Real Sim Racing League, Mr. Brandon Six. Glad to have you on the channel today, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So this episode is going to be a little bit different. This episode is going to be about not only our reaction to the Real Sim Racing Daytona 250 that we ran on this past Monday, but we're also going to probably talk about how our races went, and then later on we'll get into those reactions. So before we begin, please make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Also make sure to hit that bell to be notified when the next video comes out. So 6, we ran Daytona, which we all know is for big crashes and lots of different strategies and those type of things. And we all know at the end of the day the main goal is to survive, and the win is usually a bonus. So go ahead and start off by telling us how your race went.
It was a pretty good race. Obviously, we had a plan as a team to work together. Usually keeps us out of the junk early. At least that's the plan. I like to think the plan that we had, pinning early and getting out by ourselves, I think actually dictated the race and actually calmed it down for the most part. Once we dictated the pace, and that kind of made everyone kind of force maybe a hand that they didn't want to play, coming down and trying to basically catch us as a group as the race went on. And then there was a point in the race, pretty mellow, because we're just dominating as is. And then by the time we get to our last pit stop, come down as a group, and we had one teammate, Chris Rabel, had an incident, so we lost him, and then we also lost me because of missing my pit box. So then basically the entire race I was spent trying to race lap down cars and hopefully get the lucky dog, but unfortunately got caught up in one of the bigger accidents at the end. And I was pretty much done for the rest of the race.
So you had mentioned that you had missed your pit box, and I know that we had talked before, and you had said that basically it was kind of like late. You coming down pit road and it didn't show up, maybe about 3 pit stalls before you even got there, then it just popped up. When you have a situation like that, I mean, what is there anything you can do? I know how important Daytona is to make sure you hit your box, hit your marks, get in the pit lane quick and fast and get it done with. But when you have a situation like that and then you lose your pack, what goes through your mind? I mean, what's the next step that that you would probably need to do?
Unfortunately for Daytona, there's not much you can do except for pray for a caution, because once you lose the pack, you're just either hoping to grab onto another pack and try and stay on the lead lap, which unfortunately there was no one to latch onto except for eventually the leaders once they caught me. But the only thing to try and prevent it is hopefully maybe I can find some settings that can either fix that for me, or always what I like to say and try and do, but unfortunately we couldn't do it in this race, is during warm-up I try and see where my box is and try and reference it to either pit openings, back to the garage, or just different markings to give me a reference of like where I need to be looking as I get down pit road. But unfortunately it didn't have that chance during our practice, because we had no qualifying, so there was no warm-up afterwards.
Yeah, it definitely did suck as a whole. And I guess I'll kind of lead into my, how my race went and everything like that. Pretty much my race was smooth, for the most part. First time we pitted, as a team, as a Keeping It Real team, we pitted pretty early. I believe, if I'm correct, 6. I think we pitted on that 15.
Yep, 15 was the goal.
So we pitted there, came out, and I think we had a couple seconds on the pack behind us, because the rest of the field hadn't pitted yet. They pitted a couple laps after us. And, we were actually making pretty damn good time. We were running, I think at some point, we were more than 5, 6, 7 tenths faster a lap than the original pack was. So, it was really interesting to see how, how even though we didn't have the biggest pack, as a whole, as a team, we were really just able to hit our marks and make sure, we're pushing the leader and pushing him out there and making sure the rest of the cars stay with us and make sure we didn't lose anybody. It wasn't until, like you said earlier, when we had the second time of pitting, I really don't know what happened. I do know that Chris Rabel, our teammate, was tagged by Kevin King, which that type of stuff happens. It's not intentional or anything like that. But it does kind of mess up the flow, and we did lose him. And then with your issue on trying to hit your pit box, we did lose you too. So we were down 2 drivers. But eventually I know we did pick up some stragglers. I think we picked up Kevin King, we picked up somebody else. So it kind of balanced out. But of course, you want all your teammates with you. So and basically after that, we were all pretty much just riding, and just trying to bide our time. Unfortunately, we got held up, I do know, by 2 cars we were trying to pass on the bottom. For some reason, we struggled to pass them, and by that time, we had lost so much time. I think it was about maybe 3 or 4 laps we tried to pass them, and we just struggled. We could not get by them. I don't know if the side draft was just too strong or what exactly it was, but we definitely struggled with that. So, moving forward past that, of course, the bigger pack that caught us kind of got swallowed up, and then there was just a matter of all right, well, we'll just manage what we got. Try to stay maybe a little bit of fuel for any green-white checkers that come out or anything like that. And then, of course, a couple of the big ones happened, which we'll get into here in a few minutes. But with my finish, I somehow, some way, I still finished 6. With as much damage as a lot of us had. I think at the end, as you'll see at the end of the video, there was only about maybe 4 cars that didn't have any damage out of 42 cars. That's it's pretty bad. For the overall of the race, it was great. Just at the end, I think we all kind of lost our damn minds and just didn't care anymore. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so overall, like I said, I did finish 6. I would have loved to kind of been up there and battled those 4 cars who battled it out the last 2 laps or so with the green-white checker. But I'll take a P6 and take that momentum going to the next race at Auto Club, and we'll see how that goes. That's a completely different track, completely different style of racing that you have to do. From what I'm hearing, tires are going to be important, so it'll be interesting. But of course, we'll get into that next week. So, was there anything else that happened for you 6 before we move on to the great part of the show, which is the reactions?
No, I think that pretty much summed up most of our race.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get those reactions set up. We'll be right back. Alright, so we are back. This is the incident, or I should say big chunk, on lap 94 of the race. This was actually the first caution of the race. I can't believe we actually ran 93 laps successful before we lost our minds and tried to push a little too hard. So, Unfortunately, having a little bit of technical difficulties, iRacing would not allow me to see lap 94 for some reason. So this is going to be a clip from the actual broadcast from the RSR race. And then after they show the replay and the incident, then we'll kind of discuss it and go from there. So enjoy. 1 second.
Is pretty crazy.
And on board with Michael O'Ryan now. We'll take another look with the Flat Out Motorsports driver who got a face full of all of this. You're going to see the smoke start to fly up in front. You can't even really see who started it. Oh, just lost it on the brakes. Probably wouldn't be able to get around.
Oh, he getting hit outside wall hard.
Lost it when as soon as he jumped on the binders and then overcorrected into the outside wall. That is where the damage on the right front from O'Ryan came from.
So unfortunately, there is only one really good replay. I did try and see if there was another one. There was another one, but you really couldn't see what was going on. But yeah, that was pretty bad. From what I could see, it just looked like somebody got into the back of another car in the high line. Maybe got him a tad loose and kind of overcorrected or overreacted, or it's kind of hard to tell. And basically wiped out half the field, including myself. I was involved in that as well. I was on the bottom, trying to avoid and just kind of scathe through. But of course, if you're on the high side and you stop, all cars will come to the bottom. That's just gravity. That's how it works. So I got caught up in that. I saw you were definitely caught up in that. How was that for you, man?
I died pretty well in that wreck. Saw the car spinning, thought he was going to eventually slide to the bottom, but unfortunately he never did, so I had to make a evasive move, which these cars do not like. So as soon as I yanked it left, it immediately spun out, and I hit the apron, and it shot back up the track and killed the outside wall.
Yeah, I did see that. It did look like you tried to make a quick move. It looked like you said turn left, and it turned left. If I remember correctly, I think in the Coke series, I think Nick Ollinger had the same situation. I think Ray Alfala had made a quick move on him, and he tried to avoid him, and basically the same thing happened. It just, once you make that evasive move, if you're milliseconds behind the steering on it, you're not gonna catch it. But overall, I mean, that's that's Daytona. I mean, what can you say? I mean, coming to the end of the race, you're trying to push, your line as far out as you can to kind of get away from the side draft, or you're just trying to just get away from where the calamity and the mayhem might happen. But unfortunately, that took out quite a bit of people, including a couple of us on the team. But again, like I said, there's nothing you can really do about it. It's Daytona. That's, you kind of expect it. You just don't know when it's going to happen. So I think the next incident was lap 98. So we will be back and we'll get that pulled up and we'll have that live reaction with that. Alright, we are back again. This one is on lap 98. I'm not sure if you could really put blame on this one on anybody. The 94 did go 3 wide, but I mean, maybe he did come down a little bit. Maybe it was netcode, which is basically just an invisible hit. In my opinion, you don't really touch anybody. It's just something that unfortunately happens in the sim racing world. But we'll go ahead and have a reaction for this one.
Let's watch it from high above. Horn is pushing Freenosh. Here comes Phillip to the outside, pushed by Nieto. And, I mean, he went up a little bit. No, but that's just guys running out of room, I think, going into the corner.
That's major.
But it got into Agnew, Phillip.
And I was
came
involved
down,
in that one
and
again.
Manazzi Major's 82 car into the outside wall, off the 2-car Nieto, into the catch fencing, at least.
I mean, with that one, it was, I mean, yes, it definitely does look like they did touch. But man, it's sometimes it's so difficult, especially when you're going 3 wide and you're trying to, you know, stay on somebody's door. You know, and you're just trying to side draft him. You're just trying to slow him down so that way you can actually propel yourself forward. And that basically just looks like what happened. But again, this was another big one that took out a lot of contenders. You know, again, unfortunately, I was caught up in this one as well, running the bottom. I mean, my whole goal this whole race was just to finish the race. And in a matter of 4 laps, from lap 94 to lap 98, I have now been somehow, some way involved in 2 races, or two accidents. Neither of them having anything to do with me. I didn't see you, 6. Were you still getting your damage fixed from the last one?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was still sitting on pit road repairing heavily required damage. I'm pretty sure I had like 8 minutes from that first wreck.
Wow. Yeah, and that, I mean, at that point, what's the point of even coming back out, right? You might as well just sit and get out the car, sit on the wall, and watch the rest of the race and laugh at all the other cars that get wrecked.
Pretty much. But I kind of agree with you. I mean, as far as this wreck getting started, I mean, honestly, I chuck it to just a racing incident, hard racing. It's towards the end, and honestly, it kind of looked like a slight netcode. Yeah, they looked like they pretty much touched, but I mean, he got turned so quickly, like it was almost like netcode. So
yeah, and that's the thing with netcode, man. I mean, you don't know when it's gonna hit. You know, I've seen netcode as bad as, you know, it feels like there's a car, you could fit 2 cars in between the 2 other cars, and somehow somebody still gets spun without even being touched. So unfortunately, that just means you have really bad internet. But yeah, but as far as this particular incident, kind of felt bad, you know, looking at all the people involved in this one. Manazzi, I hope he's okay. He took a flip about a good 20 times on that one. But you kind of feel bad because a lot of those guys, you know, they're fast. You know, some, you know, just like they were saying in the broadcast, some people were trying to go for their first win. You know, to make it just that far, 2 laps away from the end of the race, and to get caught up in, you know, somebody's mess or an incident that you really didn't have anything to do with, but, you know, you got collected, you know. Unfortunately, you pack it up and head to the next race. You know, this sim racing and real racing, I mean, they have their ups and downs. And this is no exception in the same way. You know, you can start off, you know, on the pole. Agnew Phillip, I believe he started on the pole or started in the front row. You know, and he was fast all race. And then you get down to lap 98 and you pretty much are destroyed now. So all that work and all that patience and strategy and all that, it's for nothing. So, but
we see this a lot in I mean, NASCAR. Guys who've been in the sport for 20 plus years never win the 500, and it's just, unfortunately, it's out of their hands for the most part. I mean, you put yourself in positions, but ultimately you get caught up in other people's wrecks.
Yeah. And like I said, that's the part that, like I said, has its ups and downs. But, you know, that's part of racing. You win some, you lose some. You know, you pack it up and get ready for the next race, and, you know, hope you have a better ending or a better finish than you did from the previous race. So we have one more reaction because this particular caution actually caused it to go into overtime. So we will get that one pulled up and we'll be right back. Alright, so this is the last reaction for today, or for this video I should say. But this was lap 101. Again, we were in overtime, and honestly, we were just trying to finish the damn race. That was it. But it looks like Kevin King had other ideas. No, I'm just poking fun. So this was between Kevin King, Ross Cato, and Michael Johnson. And we'll talk about it after the incident.
Turn number 4 as well. We'll take a look at this here. And he just runs through Cato. That's a huge hit to the outside wall, and that collects an easy 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more drivers involved.
Okay. Does anybody hold their brakes these days?
Well, after the fact.
I mean, what's of it? Apparently not.
Yes, I know there was an incident that happened on track, but I saw nobody, about 4 cars in that view, nobody at all held their brakes. Like,
I think that's showing some frustration there at the end, just no one giving a crap.
I guess. I'm wow. Okay. So let me focus on the incident. From what I understand now, there's a lot that goes along with this particular one. In our Discord chat, where the drivers can discuss just about anything and everything. I guess there were some people who called out Kevin King. Now, again, before this, we really, Six and myself, didn't see the replay. We didn't watch the broadcast until basically now, while we're trying to set this up for you. So before that, we didn't know. Now, we were able to read what people were saying about the incident, but unfortunately, we never saw it. So with us just seeing it, and for what we know, Kevin King was a lap down. And I'm not sure if he was maybe trying to push Ross to maybe help him get past Michael. But I mean, Kevin King is a pretty smart guy, and I've actually raced with him in the Pro Series, and I'm pretty sure he knew that might be risky, even if he did push him, because, there's 2 damaged cars. I believe he was damaged as well. And your lap's down, so you're really not going to gain anything. I mean, maybe, yes, you can do it to kind of still learn as much as you can. That's that, driver's mentality, where it's just like, it's still like, go, 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 go. But again, I can't speak for Kevin King, so I don't know for sure, what he was thinking maybe at that time. But looking at it from a third-party point of view, I would say that was poorly thought out. I mean, I understand mistakes happen, and we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect, so I'm not gonna, get on him or anything like that. But as far as the incident itself, that kind of sucks that happened. Because if I remember correctly, I think a lot of us were already very close on fuel. So it just, I mean, honestly, it helped me. I'll be honest with you. But looking at that just doesn't look good. Like I said, Kevin King's a class act. I mean, I raced with him in the Pro Series. I know how fast he is. Unfortunately, that just looked like a lack of adjustment. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I raced with Kevin a lot as well. I think he just misjudged it. I think he was carrying way more speed than the 2 in front of him. As we know, the side draft really kills people's momentum. And I think he just had so big a run, he just didn't know where to go with it. And then by the time he realized he had nowhere to go with it, it was too late. So, I mean, not much you can do. I mean, and it's at the end. Green, white, checkered, so you're trying to get every spot you can. So most people aren't going to lift in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that. It's kind of again, it's an unfortunate incident. I know for a fact that he didn't intentionally go in there and try to take somebody out. But it's just like, come down to the end of these races, like you gotta kind of, think of the bigger picture. And like I said, I don't, know exactly what Kevin King was thinking or anything like that. I guess you can say, what do they call it? Quarterback couching? Or something similar to that. I probably butchered the hell out of that. But, yeah, I'm just looking at it from, my point of view. Maybe somebody who is not, obviously not Kevin King, but just looking at it from a different point of view. And I look kind of bad.
I mean, I guess one other side note. I mean, I also didn't get a chance. I don't think to see maybe who was close by him, but like, I feel like if he had one move, it would have been to take it all the way to the top side and take it 3 wide with the run he had.
Yeah.
But also, he had a kind of narrow window of a shot, so maybe he had someone like kind of hanging on his outside that he couldn't make that move.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, unfortunately, due to the technical issues, I would love to actually show you from different angles, from maybe in his car, maybe from the car behind him, but again, technical issues is preventing me from doing that, so we'll use the beautiful and wonderful Race Spot broadcast. So thankful that they broadcast our races for the RSR series. But yeah, so as far as the interactions, that's pretty much it. Again, there was only 3 cautions, which is, I mean, honestly, for Daytona, that's actually pretty damn good. Usually, there's probably about 5 plus that happened. So, I'm not going to show you the end of the race. If you would like to go watch the end of the race, you're more than welcome to go watch it. I don't want to kind of spoil how it ends. I kind of already spoiled who the winner was, but go to Race Spot on YouTube and go under the Full Throttle Real Sim Racing Cup Series, and you can watch the round 1 of Daytona. So other than that, that's pretty much all I got for you today. Was there anything that you wanted to say, Six, before we go?
Oh, pretty much. Thank you for having me, and on to Auto Club next week.
Yes. So I will say this before we go. Auto Club is definitely a challenge. Is there anything that that you look forward to in Auto Club, or is it one of those races where it's just like, it is what it is, I just go in there and race and whatever happens?
For me, I'm actually looking forward to Auto Club, and getting to a track that actually requires lifting, and hopefully some tire savings, but from brief testing, it doesn't look like it's going to be that way. It looks like it's going to be a lot of drafting and keeping your momentum up and pinning people basically on the low side. It looks like it's going to be a lot of middle to high groove for most of that race. So, but either way, it should still be fun. A lot more fun. I think the last gen car. I think this car is going to be a lot of fun this season to drive.
I agree. I know there's a lot of people that's complaining about the car, but I think that's just people who are so used to the old gen car that this one just requires, testing and getting comfortable and getting your settings right and everything like that. And I think once everybody gets that down pat, I think a lot more people will enjoy it. So in due time, they'll get used to it, and maybe we'll see some more different winners out there, which would like to see that as well, instead of the same person winning all the time. Cough, cough, Andrew. No, just kidding though. But well, again, that's gonna be all for the video for the reactions, for the overview of our races, for KIR, for us as individual drivers. I want to thank Six for coming on and being my co-host for today. Again, as we talked about, next week is Auto Club Speedway, so stay tuned for another overview and reaction for that week, which is next week. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.